been raining the last few days, so it's kind of muddy. And it did freeze up here, so bumpy. A lot of the leaves are gone, unfortunately. But I wanted to come up here and see if I could see any more colors before the last of them disappear. There's a little bit of color, spots of it here and there. People are still up here camping because it's still hunting season. So, pretty sure most of the people up here are hunting. I didn't think about the fact that this bike does not have fenders on it, so I may have a strip of mud up my back by the time I'm done, because I've gone through a couple of super wet spots. And I've got some on the front of me, so I know I'll have some on the back. Look at that puddle, so golden. Oh, beautiful, I love it. I'm so glad there's still a little color left. Man, this section's bumpy. Look at these aspen with these bulbous looking segments on them. I don't know that I've ever seen that before, but this section right here has a lot of them. There's some more back there. Can't see the row of them over there, but there's so many of them. Okay, this is a very wet section. I'm sure I'm getting the stripe up my back. Oh, big hill. Okay, gotta put the phone away. Since it's been raining the last couple days, I brought my raincoat and rain pants this time. And I have a windbreaker and my leg warmers on. And I brought the buff, the hat, and a long sleeve jersey just in case it gets a lot cooler. But it's 62 degrees. And with my windbreaker on, it's feeling pretty good. There's some colors out there, not a lot, but there's still some out there. Look how red some of these aspens are. I don't see that very often. I have seen it quite a bit this year. I wonder if that has to do with the drought. That's my guess. Oh, bumpy. You can see a bunch of red aspens over there as well. Oh, man. This is potholed like crazy, but I'm trying to look over here because it's beautiful. I'm actually starting to get hit with some sprinkling. So I'll probably turn around here pretty soon. I'm gonna go just a little bit further. I went ahead and I put my rain gear on because it's definitely picking up on the speed that it's coming down. Got my rain pants on, which I forgot about until I just put them on. Last year, when I started trying to lose weight, so like a year and a half ago, I couldn't put them on. I couldn't get them up over my butt. So I'm very glad that they fit now. I think for my birthday ride next year, I want to do the whole length of this, or at least half of it. I'm not actually sure how long it is, so I wouldn't be able to do all of it in one day. It's pretty long. Although it would be really cool to do a bike packing trip up here. Biggest issue is there's not great spots to get water. So bumpy, but so colorful. Ooh. I think I'm mostly past the rain for the moment. I'm about ready to take this rain jacket off and put my windbreaker back on because it's getting steamy in here. I think I'm out above my old town because the lines on the mountain are ones I would see out my cabin every day. I might need to go north more still, but I definitely saw those from my cabin. Okay, I stopped to take my rain jacket off because I couldn't handle it. It was too hot and sweaty in there. This is my bike right now. Not as bad as I was thinking. For some reason it's worse on this side. This bag's not bad at all. It's gonna need a bath when I get home. I just looked at the map and I'm only 3 miles from a warming hut that has a pit toilet. And I am tempted to go, but I need to turn around because it's 4 o'clock. And I gotta get back to my car and drive back down the canyon. So I'm an hour from my house once I get to my car. Man, I hate being responsible. I just passed a group of campers and they've got a fire going in between all their campers and it smells like a nice toasty campfire. I'm just flinging mud all over the place. I'm so lucky I get to see all this beauty. I remember back when I was a kid, when I was 13, and I had this bike that a friend had given me, that the steering column, the stem, it would just lose grip all of a sudden, and I'd try to steer and it would go, the handlebars would go, but the front wheel wouldn't. It behaved most of the time, but you just never knew when it wasn't gonna. And when it did that, I always fell over. And one time I almost fell in, well, I fell in front of a car, but thankfully it was on a little side street. Everyone was going slowly. I think I just got hit in the face with mud. Anyway, that was the bike I had. And I was a short thing then. I was 5 feet tall. Well, I started growing and I had terrible knee pains. So I was growing and my doctors brushed it off as growing pains. But it just got to be so bad that they finally looked into it and discovered that I had chondromalacia patella, which means that I had no cartilage on the joint where my knee is. So either on the kneecap or the bones that touch the kneecaps. Had it in both legs. And it was so painful. Well, my doctor was kind of a quack. And instead of sending me to physical therapy, he told me I wasn't allowed to walk for a year, which is the opposite of what you should do. Previous to that, I had been super active. I played tennis for hours every day. I played any kind of active game that anybody suggested. I wasn't on any teams. I just played with like the neighborhood kids, or in the case of tennis, I played by myself with a wall in the tennis courts because I couldn't get anyone to play with me for as long as I wanted to play. So anyway, I was super active when it happened, and then he told me I wasn't allowed to walk for a year, and my parents made sure that I followed that. I mean, it was so bad I was begging to mow the lawn and take the trash out, but I was allowed to ride my bike, that bike that I couldn't steer. It was pretty dangerous, and my friend at the time, who was a different friend than the one that had given me the first bike, she had a bike she never used, an old 10-speed, and so she gave that to me so I could bike to her house, and I did. But I grew, and I grew, and I grew, and I grew, and I grew 9 inches that year, and I didn't grow anymore, but I grew 9 inches, and that bike was way too small, so it got put in the shed. In the meantime, my year of no walking was finally over, but I hadn't healed. So my doctor said 1 more year of no running. So I still couldn't do anything fun, but I could walk. And I was out there every few days mowing the lawn, volunteering to take trash out, because my parents wouldn't let me walk too far. And I was still in a lot of pain, so I really didn't want to walk too far. Time passed and the second year ended, and my doctor said, well, you can start to run if you want, if you feel good, but if it starts to hurt, then stop running. And I was not healed, but I was past the most painful part of it. So I would do some things like basketball and softball, and I did tennis a few times, but that was too much for my knees. Anyway, I didn't get another bike. Well, long story short, I was plagued with knee problems through my mid-20s. And about once a year, I would have to go to physical therapy to help get it back to feeling more acceptable. Eventually, I did get past that, but rewind a little bit. I was 19. It was 1999. And I was at a thrift store and I was flipping through a magazine. And there was an ad, like a double-page ad. It was a map of America and a bunch of pictures of cyclists riding their bikes in all different areas across the country. And it was for American Lung Association charity bike ride called the Big Ride. And at that moment, I decided I needed to ride my bike so that I could ride my bike across America someday. So I pulled my little tiny bike out of the shed, pumped up the tires, and I had a friend that biked. I had a friend online that biked, and he told me that the harder you pedal, the easier it will be. And so I went off on a 5-mile bike ride, and I thought it would be easy. Yeah, I was dying. Well, first of all, hadn't sat on a bicycle seat in 6 years, and I'm pretty sure this one was like rock hard from age. The foam was no longer, that's what it felt like. Look at that. Anyway, this was a flat, and I mean flat, 5-mile ride. And I was struggling big time, and the entire time I was chanting to myself under my breath, the harder you pedal, the easier it'll be. The harder you pedal, the easier it will be. And I made it, but I thought I was gonna die. Man, it's so bumpy. I'm switching sides. There. I'm glad I took my rain jacket off because I did not get rained on again. And I'm pretty sure I won't at this point. So I did that same ride again after enough time had passed that the trauma of the bike seat was past. And it was just as hard. So I decided to join a gym, and I did. And I spent the winter, because it was right at the beginning of winter, I spent the winter at the gym getting more fit, and it worked. Anyway, spring came, and I had bought a mountain bike in the meantime from Walmart, a returned one. So it had issues. Well, luckily, my dad had this friend who was a pretty avid cyclist, and he would come over to the house and spend time with everybody, so I knew him and I was comfortable with him. So I went over to his house one day, and I asked him if he could show me how to fix my bike. And he did. He taught me how to put a new tube in, and he taught me how to tighten the spokes, because that was the big problem I had at the time. The rims kept going out of true. And I came back to him a few more times with different issues, and he said, you know what, I've got an extra bike, I'll let you borrow it until you save up for your own bike, because I told him I was saving up for a better bike. And he took me into his garage, and I kid you not, this guy had like 30 bikes, all old back then, and he picked one off the shelf that he thought would fit me best and had a Brooks saddle on it. And that to date, is the most comfortable bike seat I have ever been on. And I don't know why I don't buy one. I just haven't yet, but I will. Anyway, this man, he lent me a bike for a little over a year, and he would take me out biking to show me techniques, and pretty much just took me under his wing. And it was really cool with him. I thought he was so old at the time, but looking back now, he was probably not even 50 yet. So he was probably right around my age now. He had teenage children. So yeah, he was probably about my age or even a little bit younger. I'm super lucky because I went to the bike shop just to see what they had. I went there many times and they had this Trek 520. Actually, there were two of them. One was bigger and one was my size. And they were asking $400 for it. And that's the bike that I ride today. Not this mountain bike, but the touring bike that I ride on the road. But that was perfect because I wanted to tour. And it was almost brand new. But two brothers had biked across the country using those bikes. They were donated by Trek. And then once they were done, they were selling them and giving the money to the charity that they had raised money for. I think that bike is just a little too big for me, but I love that bike. And I've been using it since 2000. It is the best purchase I have ever made. Now, when my mother-in-law was here last month picking up her husband, well, I guess it was a month and a half ago now, she came to pick up her husband, who had been with us all summer. I took her for a side-by-side ride up to the lookout, and I told her that it took me 4 hours to ride my bike up there. It was really steep, and she was very impressed, but she wondered why I enjoy it if it's so painful, because it is painful. And I said to her, well, I haven't always been able to use my body, and I know someday I'll be in that position again when I'm old. And I want to use my body now while I can, because it could happen at any point. I don't know how long I'll be able to move my body the way I want to. And that's been my answer since pretty much the time I started biking, so about 19. That's always been my reason. I want to use my body while I can. I want to treat it well and just get the most out of it. And it makes me happy to do that because I can. I haven't always been able to. And not everybody understands that, because not everyone's been in that situation, especially not as a teenager. But anyway, that is my little trip down memory lane and my reason for biking. I just love using my body. I've always loved using my body, even before that happened to me. Ugh. Just got dirt in my mouth. But after I was able to start using my body again when I couldn't, that's when I really understood how important it was to me. So, I am nearing my car now, so I'm gonna sign off. I will see you next time, and until then, get outside and move your body in any way you can, and be happy that you can, even if it has limitations. Because I know I do, but I don't care. I break those. I work toward breaking them. So I'm nearing my car now. I'm gonna have to sign off. I will see you next time. And until then, get outside and move your body and be happy that you can. Well, I'm back to my car. So I'm gonna sign off. I'll see you later. I'm back to my car, so I'm gonna sign out now. I'll see you next time. And until then, get outside and enjoy moving your body. Forget about your limitations. We all have them, but just enjoy moving your body in whatever way that you can. Until this very moment, I did not think about having to put a muddy bike in my car. That's, that is gonna make a huge mess in my car. Well, I don't have a choice. Well, I got my bike in. It could be worse. It wasn't that bad. I kind of dropped the bike a few times on the tires to get some of the extra mud off of it. So it's not too bad.